It's me. It's Glenn. I am back from vacation. How is everyone tonight? All right. I got some really cool news for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We are live on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Trovo, and on Live 365 radio on the internet. So you can hear the audio on Live 365. And once you download the app, what you need you to do, you have to go over and find Yergz, YERGZ radio, and get that. And then just make that your favorite. And I'm pretty sure real soon we're going to have shows on regularly. Right now we're live. We're going to be live on Saturday night with the Misfits. So make sure to check that out. Let's see. I don't think I have any other news here. Let's bring in my lovely co-host for tonight, Miss Dina. How are you?
Hello. I'm great. How are you doing?
I guess I'm okay. I'm back from vacation,
Yeah.
Drove like 300 miles a day, so it's all good. So
You're worn out. I would be.
Actually, I'm kind of wired. You know that feeling
Are you?
when you drive
yeah,
for so long,
yeah.
you get the shakes or whatever you call it.
Yeah,
So
you feel
I'm
like
kinda
you're still
wired.
driving.
I wish I could stand and talk. That would be even better.
Yeah,
So.
that would be.
Well, and I think later tonight we're gonna have JT pop in too, I believe. So we'll have kind of a really cool show. Brenda, in case anyone is wondering, is sick tonight, so we wish her to get well. She's had like stomach flu or something, so we're hoping she gets well soon. So Brenda, we miss you. Come back soon. And then for tonight, we're a little bit off of the. Huh?
I said, hope you feel better, Brenda. I'm sorry,
Okay.
didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. You're good. So we're a little bit off the paranormal track tonight. We have a guest tonight, Gary Matzo. I'm probably screwing up his name. I'm sorry, Gary. He's the director and producer, good Lord, of a really cool movie called Odd Hours, No Pay, Cool Hat. It really explains about the volunteer fire service in our country. And a lot of people don't realize that a large portion of the country is run by volunteer fire and EMS, even rescue squad. Not all counties and cities are lucky enough to have a paid department. And not only are we short in paid professional, we're way short in volunteers. So the movie talks a lot about that. It talks about, well, I'm just gonna let him tell you because I could ramble on and on since everybody knows I'm a volunteer. Well, I was a volunteer firefighter, and I was career for I don't know what 20 years, so I don't know. Let's see, and here is Gary. Gary, I'm sorry if I screwed up your last name.
You did, but that's okay. It's Matoso.
Matoso. I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Yeah, I am based in Seattle. Photographer. I was a photojournalist turned filmmaker. We have a production company here called Vignette Creative with a great team of people. And we just been telling stories for a long time. And this is the biggest story we've told. This is our first feature film that we made. We had a great team to work on it. And it's kind of excited to see it go out into the world and get a really good reception that it's gotten so far.
So from the time you started, I guess with the creative idea with the writers and stuff, how long did the whole process take?
Well, the process took about a year and a half before the whole process right around a 4-year deal. There's about 2 years before we came in, where our executive producer Peter Yoakum, who was a guy who was just kind of going out there looking for a positive story to tell. And he crossed paths with the volunteer fire service and started interviewing chiefs and volunteer firefighters. And the more he learned about it, the more he realized it was just a story that kind of needed to be told, and just in general just generally raise awareness. I mean, so many people don't even know that their local fire departments volunteer or not, but also because of what you brought up, the recruiting and retention issues that they're facing, it's just harder and harder for people to commit that kind of time to doing it. And so he approached us about helping make a film, and then from that point on, we kind of developed the creative plan and started the casting process of trying to look for the stories that we were gonna tell. And so it was, I'd say about 6 months in pre-production, then another probably 3 months of production where we traveled across the country. We did, 8 stories in 8 different locations across the country. And then about a year of editing on the film after that. So it's a long process for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I know I was a fire photographer. It was my first job in the fire service as a volunteer even. And we were talking, it reminded me when you said that it took about a year for almost every hour of shooting pictures, just taking either video or still, it always took at least a day to edit them and get them. So it is a long process.
Oh yeah, the edit in particular. And plus, this story is complex. There's a lot of different stories, and we kind of weave in and out of them. And it's really a journey through that volunteer fire service is the way we kind of look at it. And we wanted it to, represent lots of different types of people, lots of different parts of the country, different parts of the fire service. Every part of the country is different in terms of their needs, and rural communities or even urban communities. East Coast has more of a tradition of volunteer firefighting in bigger, urban centers. So it was just getting the right balance of places and people and stories, was a big part of it.
That's cool.
Yeah, I know. My first position with the fire department was a volunteer firefighter and volunteer photographer, fire photo unit. And I was in Fairfax, Virginia, where it's a combined department. They have several stations that are volunteer and career manned. And I never knew until I moved to Knoxville, Tennessee, that there was a separate ambulance, there was a separate rescue squad, and the fire departments, well, in the big city of Knoxville, yeah, you have a fire truck come from the city, but in the county, it's a paid service. But you get out past that, and that where I was, when the tones go off, you may get one guy or you may get 10. You don't know.
Yeah. And if you're in these small communities and there's a farm accident, like you said, it's. I think one of the best surprises for us as going into it, because we didn't know a whole lot about the volunteer fire service, is that fire is really a small part of what they do. It is really a lot of medical.
Very small part, actually.
It's all those things. So, out in these, really remote rural communities, there's a bad accident and you can't get someone to you in 20 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, it's life or death,
Yeah.
Yeah, where my son lives in Vermont, it's even volunteer EMS, which blew me away.
Wow.
Yeah, this is all volunteer EMS as well. We did a story in Virginia as well, by the way. Yeah, one of if you see the whole film, but there's the large animal rescue story in the film about this one fire department that specializes in saving horses and that fall into swimming pools or do stupid things. And so that was in a rural Virginia story that we did.
Yeah, I think they're the experts on it, I believe, because it seems like they came and taught us a class in Knoxville because Knoxville has a stockyard and it has a lot of traffic through. They've had several accidents with tractors and trailers that were carrying livestock or horses. And they were like, what do we do? And that's something you don't think about. Here in Atlanta, we don't think about things like that. But in an area like that, we would. So
for sure, yeah. They go around. They do go around and train and teach other departments around the country.
That's awesome. True. But, I was thinking, before we get too carried away, you want to share the trailer with us?
Sure.
All right, let me bring your screen up here. And I forgot to tell everybody, you could also call in tonight with questions for Gary. And let me move my thingy here. He will be fielding questions, or we'll talk too. It don't matter. Hey, we'll talk to anybody. We ain't scared.
Yeah. Let me know when you want me to click play here.
Go ahead.
I can't sit there and hear the sirens go off and me not be able to do something.
You just have to be ready to run.
You have someone's life in your hands.
We have to protect our communities, because if we don't, who will?
For those of you that have trouble chewing bubble gum and walking at the same time, this is going to take some work.
I thought that I was just joining to be like the note taker.
On your mark, get set, go.
Then I get there and they're like, oh, no, you're the people doing it. Oh my God, like, that's me?
volunteer fire departments are the core of the community.
We do anything. they'll call the fire department for anything.
There's a lot of towns that don't have fire department for 40 miles. A matter of minutes is life and death. I mean, matter of seconds.
I woke up to my room completely filled with smoke. It's hard to imagine that a home was here.
I don't care how tired you are. This is what we're called to do. Help people, find them, save them.
We went through hell together.
You see the ugliness of people, you see the beautifulness of people.
There's only so many of us. How do you keep a town alive? He handed me a piece of paper and he said, fill this out. We have a meeting Wednesday night. My husband said, where have you been? I said, I think I joined the fire department. Full screen.
That's great.
I like that. That's awesome.
That's great.
That's
Seeing the
lady.
Fire Academy there give me flashbacks.
Yeah. Yeah, lady at the end was amazing, Barb. Yeah, she was fun. There's a lot of fun stories, you know. I mean, really, I mean, it's about the fire service, but it's about these people and why they do it and their motivations. And, you know, everyone's got different reasons for joining. But, you know, I think that's what really makes this thing is there are the stories about the people, you know, and their personal stories.
Yeah.
Did you have to do anything special for the fire photography because I mean, you got some good shots there. Did you have to get any special equipment, or do you have any considerations like that for it? Or
we didn't have to wear turnout gear for the most of the stuff. So there was the one live fire scene that we're kind of inside the place where there's fire stuff's going on, and that was we used GoPros on that, so we were actually in there. Okay. But for the other things, you know, we were just kind of shooting long lenses, trying to, you know, understand where we could go, where we couldn't go, but we didn't have to do, you know. But, you know, I think we were with enough fire departments, talked to them enough that we, you know, we figured out how to work around them while they were doing, you know, that's making sure they were doing what they needed to do. Yeah. But,
did you go through fire training or?
Well, we went through, so that one story at the fire academy. So we didn't actually personally go through fire training, but we went through a group that went through fire training and followed them for, it was a weekend program. So they went as like, I think 11 or 12 week program. So we kind of went through it vicariously, you know, through them.
Yeah. You didn't have to do all the push-ups.
We didn't have to do the
push-ups. Dang it, I should have went on your plan.
Yeah. I'm carrying cameras all day long. I gotta work out with that.
Yeah.
So. My last one was 16 weeks of 6 a.m. till 6 p.m.
Wow.
Yeah. Dina, I'm sorry. I have been talking.
No, you're fine.
Not let you get a question in at all. If you get, I don't want to cut you out. So
Gary, what did you think about it? Would you consider being a volunteer firefighter?
What I can see, you know, I got to say, so from my personal history, like I wasn't, you know, when the project came to us, you know, and Peter talked to us about doing it, it wasn't like I was always somebody who was, you know, obsessed as a kid with, you know, firefighters or cops, right, or anything like that. So, so I was excited to be doing the film, and I'm always interested in every story. But it wasn't like, yeah, you know, yes, but after we got into the project and we got deeper into it and we met these people and we saw the stories, and you just can't help but fall in love with it and fall in love
exactly.
With it. So,
yeah.
You know, I might be a little old to be starting now, but I mean, I don't know. You have Barbara, the woman who's in there in the story. I don't want to do any spoiler alerts, but she, you know, she's at the end of the trailer. I mean, she started in her 60s, so
yeah,
you know, it's never too late. But but
yeah, I mean, it's time for you, Dina.
Yeah, yeah, maybe Dina, you can be your inspiration.
Oh, my knee is. I got a bad knee. I would love to do that, but
I think the thing that would hold me back the most is the time commitment. I mean, it's just a big commitment. It's a big commitment for the training. It's a big, you really, you know, I mean, there's volunteers, and I think it's great for everyone to volunteer whatever time that they have. But I mean, these people really, it's like extreme volunteerism. I mean, they really dedicate time, and they're putting themselves in, you know, dangerous situations and traumatic situations. So my hat goes off to them for sure.
Yeah, I've known Glenn forever, but I've known quite a few volunteer firefighters. I dispatched for forever, but yeah, it's a very big commitment, and danger you put yourself in for others, and I really respect them.
Oh yeah, they're amazing.
So,
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah. So it was a super inspirational project to be a part of,
Yeah,
and see
sure.
people, just really out there to help others.
Hmm.
One thing we always said in the fire service, it's the best job you'll ever had, the only job you'll ever have. It's a brotherhood, it's an association, it's almost like a cult in some ways.
Yeah, it is the fire department. The fire department too. I mean, it's paid fire departments even.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's like we call it
Weird.
the fire family, where people,
Yeah.
they're really coming in and being a part of something bigger than
Mhm.
themselves. Yeah, and they create bonds with people that are
Yeah.
very, very strong. And I think one thing that was cool we also saw was a mix of ages. We had some departments with very young, other departments that were aging, a bit. But a lot of departments were having young people and older people, just kind of hanging out and working together and having fun together. And, you don't see that in a whole lot of different situations, you know what I mean? And it's like,
That's
it
true.
was pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
Barbara, who's again, going back to Barbara, who's EMT. And she was telling me she had two drivers that were 18 and 20-year-old ambulance drivers.
Yeah.
And the crew with her, she's like this 70-year-old grandma and, these two young kids, and they got all, they worked really well together and,
Yeah.
saved lives.
What's interesting is the older guys teach the younger guys coming in their old tricks, and then newer guys coming in teach the older guys the things they've just learned. So it's really, really, really interesting, the mix of people, and then just the camaraderie is amazing.
Yeah, and it's not just. I mean, I think
Yeah.
what was interesting, and we didn't get as much of this in the film as we wanted to, just because we can't put everything in there. But a lot of the younger people were saying it was so nice to have these, because all these people are volunteers, so they have other careers, they have
Yeah.
other jobs.
Right.
So somebody might be an accountant, somebody might be a math teacher. Who knows? But they got like life experience and life
Yeah. Yeah.
tips from these people, who who were experts either in their fields or just had like kind of life experience that they could share with them. So
Yeah.
that was a
Yeah. I
real
really
benefit.
like that.
And a lot of times you'll get, what drew me in was my grandfather was a volunteer firefighter.
Oh,
My uncle was a
my
volunteer
family.
firefighter. And so I grew up listening to the scanner,
Yeah.
and it was, and I loved it. And one thing the instructor at the fire academy said, there's a rivalry between cops and firefighters, but he said, it has stuck with me. He said, you can have the nicest sports car, the best Lamborghini. He said, but I guarantee you, when you come rolling through in that big red shiny truck with bells and sirens going, everybody's going to be looking at you. And he
That's
says,
true.
chicks dig the fire truck.
We had a few stories that were like firehouse romances,
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of that, and a lot of generational stuff too. Like you said, there was a lot of stories. There's a one generational story in the film, but we heard that from a lot of people that their dad or their grandfather, or, uncles were firefighters. So it is something gets passed down.
Yeah, it's all I ever wanted to do.
Yeah.
So, and I wish I had a chance to see the whole movie before this, but do you cover any of the history of the volunteer fire service, about like where it actually started back in the colonial era?
Yeah, there's a little segment up in the early part of the film that kind of just is an overview of the volunteer fire service. It lets people know kind of, like as you were saying, it's like the volunteer fire service covers like 75% of the land, mass of the country is covered by volunteer services. I think it's like there's 700,000 volunteer firefighters, in the country out of like 1.2 million firefighters. I mean, it's crazy, the numbers. So we kind of hit that and just talk about what it means to different types of communities. But then we go just briefly into the history of how it started, which is usually there was a big fire in a small town and everything burned down, and they realized they got to come up with a plan, because sometimes the other fire department, the neighboring fire department came, but it just took too long to get there to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
there is a lot of history and tradition with the volunteer fire service. I think the first volunteer was Ben Franklin. George Washington was a volunteer firefighter. A lot of our founding fathers were actually were volunteer firefighters. Of course, like you said, much different. It was bucket brigades back then, leather buckets. A lot of people don't realize that,
Yeah.
And then, of course, it moved up on to the horse and buggy, and then they got into the steam, and then, of course, now we're getting into the electric era, which is really strange to me. But so there's a lot of history there, and it's really cool to get people to see on the outside of this what it is, because a lot of people, just like you said, they call 911, they expect somebody's going to be there.
Yeah. And I think as people show up, they don't know. Again, you'll see scenes in there where again, I don't want to spoil it, but you'll see the professionals and the volunteers, and when you're upside down in a car on the middle of the road and that truck shows up and those volunteers show up, you don't know if they're volunteers. I mean, they're just trained professionals who can help you save your life and get you out of that situation, so it's not like you can physically see a difference. The training is not, it's different, all across the country, but in most places now, the training for the volunteers is pretty much identical to a career firefighter. So, they're highly trained, professionals.
Yeah. Or I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, you're absolutely right. In Fairfax, Virginia, you have to go through the state curriculum, and then you have to go through the county curriculum, which is even harder. So in some agencies, you got to do both. But you're right. They have to have the same standards that the professionals do. Now, there's a lot of people who say, oh, we can't have that. Well, they may not have 8 hours on shift every third day to practice their trade, as in, training. And they may not get a call, but, I would put the Knoxville Volunteer Rescue Squad up against even any of the heavy rescue companies I worked with.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They were jam up at what they did. They were just rescue, and they were jam up at what they did, and a lot of these services are.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like I say, there's scenes in the film where you see these people in action, and it's very impressive.
Yeah, I would put them up against the fire department, Knoxville Fire Department, actually. Wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah,
mini rescue type thing.
Yeah. And I don't know this is public knowledge yet, kind of inside knowledge, but actually Knoxville Volunteer Rescue Squad, and that's all they did was rescue. And they specialized in every kind of rescue: high angle, low angle, vehicle extrication,
underwater.
Yeah, I think everything but hazmat.
Yeah.
And they didn't have enough volunteers, and now they're being taken over by a paid department. They're going to be taken over by Rural Metro. And
I didn't know that. Sorry.
Yeah. So I don't think their standards will go down, but I think it's a shame because they've had so much tradition there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand, like you were saying, not only the commitment and stuff, but some people just aren't interested in helping the community anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, again, we focus a lot on people's motivations. I think it's just harder to find the time now, I think, for a lot of people, and I think there's just so many distractions out there, so many things that are pulling people in different directions. But I mean, we did find, a lot of young people that, love volunteering and love giving back, or, they're trying to use it as a career building opportunity themselves. That's another motivation for a lot of people, whether it's a medical career or a career in the fire service as well. But it's, being a volunteer is a great way to at least try it out, see if it's something that you're, that you're adapted for,
Well, I was suckered into becoming a paramedic. My volunteer fire chief told me, because I was trying to get hired at a career department. And no, this is a true story. And I was trying to get hired at Knoxville Fire, which is like you have to like have an uncle's brother, step cousin to get you in there or something. I mean, they're tight, even though they're civil service. Yeah. So he told me, he said, well, if you get your EMT, you'll be a step above everybody else. I'm like, well, okay. So I went to EMT school. Halfway through it, I'm thinking, God, all this is so familiar. And I realized that I had taken it in Fairfax, but Fairfax didn't certify me. So I was going through the EMT program. Yeah, because I wasn't a career, or what they had a name for it, but combination. I wasn't a member of the combination department. I was allowed to just come in and hang out, basically. And so no, it didn't matter to me. So I took it. And then that same fire chief, a few weeks after I graduated from that, he said, you'd have a step up on him if you became a paramedic. And I'm like, well, I could do that. 18 months later of hell. So, and I love the EMS service. I like to think I was a good paramedic and helped a lot of people. And then I had went through the training academy in Virginia and in Knoxville. Outside of Knoxville in a rural area. And then when I moved to Georgia down here in Atlanta, I got hired strictly as EMS, which I had never realized that departments even separated fire and EMS. They were all one, but DeKalb County, Georgia, it was called DeKalb Paramedics. And just after I got out of the training academy for the paramedics, where I had to do all the push-ups and huts and all that crap, the fire department took us over.
Oh my gosh.
So they were asking for volunteers to go through the fire academy, and I'm like, me, take me. So I went straight from the EMS academy into the fire academy. I spent 10 years in the inner city of DeKalb and loved every minute of it. But as you get older, it's tough on your body. I gotta tell you that.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, that's the thing, again, in the film, where just like some of these rural communities where the apartments are aging, and they're struggling more to try to find younger people to come in and fill in spots. Yeah.
In your filming, what was your favorite part of it?
I think it was going from place to place, because every place was so different. So we actually started out in California, did a little story, then we came back, and then we did a big run where we went to this small town in Nebraska, Exeter, Nebraska, which was like 500 people in the town. I mean, they do like 40 calls a year, and real farming community. And they were great. It was amazing. But yeah, it's 40 calls, but like 40 important calls, right?
Yeah.
And then we went from there to a Hasidic Jewish community outside of New York City, which was
that's interesting.
A completely different world. And then from there to Virginia, where we did this large animal rescue story. And then from there we went to urban DC. So it was just going from very different environments and people, and but there were these common themes and threads throughout that really connected them all together. But I mean, that's what I think I enjoyed the most for me personally, was just the transition from one place to another.
Now, be honest with this question. As a director, how difficult was it to keep control of firemen?
Firemen were great. They were awesome. I think what we loved about firemen is anything you wanted done, it's they just get stuff done. You know what I mean? So it was because we shoot all different types of stories with different types of things, and some people can be kind of difficult, or clients, projects can be difficult. But with firefighters, everything was what do you want? And then they made themselves available for us. And I think they were happy to share their story and to let people know. So I think they appreciated the fact that somebody was paying attention to them and trying to tell their story in a big way. So
just don't let them have any delicate equipment.
We let them have the heavy stuff. We'll just take our cameras.
Yeah.
But they were great. They were awesome to work with. Yeah.
A firefighter can break an iron brick. So I was on set when they were filming the last Marvel's Avenger movie, and I was portraying a fire captain. And they actually had I was an actor. I was getting paid to be there, but since it was downtown Atlanta, they also brought in Atlanta Fire. And of course, I knew a lot of the guys and stuff, and they had the big, heavy, I think it's Rescue 2, Squad 2, and beautiful, brand new fire truck. And the director wanted the fireman to grab some stuff off of the back of the heavy rescue truck and make like he's running off screen. And so they put the rookie into this, which I don't know if you learned this while you were filming, but rookie gets the crap jobs usually. And rookie went, they yell action, and he goes and he opens the doors and flings them open dramatically. And he decides he's going to grab the circle saw, which I'm sure you know what a circle saw is after doing this. And he turns and he's in full turnout gear, ready to run, and trips and falls flat on his face. Circle saw goes jetting out of there. And the director just like run for a minute or so afterwards. And they're like, "You going to do that again?" And he's like, "Nope, I like that."
That's funny.
He liked it. The director liked it.
Yeah, he actually did. He said it showed, because in an emergency, we screw up too.
Oh yeah.
Did you make the cut? Is it in the film or no?
Yeah, I don't know if it did or not. I saw some of it, but I don't know if I saw that scene. And I don't think any of the scenes once again, I got stuck with the paramedic role. I was helping little old ladies across the street in front of the Hulk and stuff, and it got cut. But the way Disney works, it could be used in a film 6 years from now. So it's the brothers that do the directing for that. They're notorious for using scenes from other movies they cut out and weaving them in. You guys are artists. There's no doubt about it. Because aside from the cinemagic stuff, you have to visually look at it and see not only what you like, but what you think the general public's going to like, and then make it go flawlessly. How hard is that? As a fireman, I can tell you, I can't chew gum and walk at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard with the documentary stuff is like you just don't. It's not like you have a script that you're going to follow. Right. I mean, you go in, you kind of plan this stuff out, you think it through, and then you're with them for we're probably 3 to 4 days with each department that we were with, and so when you're in Exeter where there's only 40 calls a year, your odds of getting a call are fairly low. Where you're with this in DC, the Wheaton, which was a rescue department as well that we were with. They get like 10,000 calls a year, so we had a lot of action, with them. So I think it's just making sure that you've got, even if there's no action, that you've got stories to tell and you've got things to work on, and and just trying to find the things that you think other people are going to relate to, or care about.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I think that would be, to me, that would be harder than what I did as a firefighter paramedic.
I've been this for a long time, so I'm sure for a lot of people that would be hard. So it's all relevant.
Yeah, that was another question I was going to ask you. What else have you directed? I'm sure you're.
Well, honestly, we do mostly we've done a lot of commercial films. So, again, we're out here in Pacific Northwest, so we're doing a lot of Amazon, Microsoft, all the kind of brands that are out here. We've done some. I'm trying to think of other big brands, a little bit of Patagonia, Under Armour, those kind of brands that we've done, and help them tell stories, and we've done a few other smaller kind of original pieces. We've done a piece, we've got the story we've been working on about a guy out of Kansas who makes vinyl records.
Nice.
That's a pretty inspirational personal story with him. So this is a little bit of everything, but again, this was our first, feature length film. Okay. So most of the things we've done have kind of been from the 5 to 20 minute range is like a lot of our work. So this is 90 minutes, this film. So it's a different scale, so it was a good learning process for us.
But it's exciting going from a short film to a long.
Yeah, it was awesome. Well, we got shown. We had a small theatrical, release in New York and LA and a few other places. So to see it on the big screen was cool. And then up on all the streaming platforms. And another cool part of the project is the film's being made freely available to departments across the country.
That's great.
So we have a distribution team called Subgenre, and they've been working with departments to set up like local community screenings around the country, for fundraising, for recruiting purposes.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that was always kind of a cornerstone of the project, of the
Yeah.
kind of concept, was that this film would be used in in different ways. And it's going to, I think there's some things on the horizon with it, that there's talks right now that I think will even have a bigger distribution coming up in a few months. But I can't.
That's great.
Yeah.
You go to film festivals and things with them too?
We just did a local film festival here. So we're on Bainbridge Island, which is an island off of Seattle. They just had it. We submitted to some other festivals, didn't get in this year, but they've got so many films going in these places, and it's sometimes it's thematic or whatever, but for whatever reason, we can get into a ton of festivals. But like I say, the rest of the distribution has been going we're pretty happy with where it's going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, because we need more volunteers.
Yeah. We just want to get it in front of as many people as we can, because I think when people see it, they react to it. And it's, I think the other thing for us about the story was, we were all over the country in blue states and red states, and, and there's just nothing political about this film. It's just really about people helping people, and it just never needed to go anywhere that. And I think from showing it and showing it to different people, everybody resonates with this film. And I think it's the kind of stories that people need to hear right now and want to hear right now. And, it's just about their, like I say, it's just people helping people. And that's really what it comes down to in the end. And I think that's, out of everything, I think the thing that I like the most about the film is just that it's this, it gives you hope,
Yeah, and we need it, especially in this world. Let's see. Prospecting USA, which is Wendell, by the way, he's one of our regular. He wants to know, are you going to be doing a film on any missing people?
A film on missing people?
Missing people.
Not that I know of. Nothing planned right now, but if there was a good story that came along, we're always just looking for good stories. So
maybe Wendell has an idea there.
Not have a story. Wendell has lots of stories.
Yeah. He's I know what he's getting at. He's talking about David Pilates is a retired police detective that went to work in the private business. And after he got tasked to find a missing child in the national forest for a corporation, and he'll never say what company or who the executive was. They paid him 6 figures. And he went in and exhausted all local, state, and national and federal resources, and they got 0 on the child. And that set him into motion, where he started going and looking into all the missing cases in the national forest. And he's got, it's called, Wendell, you have to help me out here. I think it's called the 411, and he's got an East Coast and a West Coast, where he goes into the national parks. He goes into the history and sees, what times he tries to make patterns and things like a detective would do. And he never says one time in his book that it's Bigfoot or that it's UFOs or they stumbled into portals. He leads you down the road and lets you make your own decision. So I think that's what he's probably hinting at, is some of the Pilates stuff. Yep, missing 411. That's it.
Yeah. Well, that's the first I've heard of that story. So no, we're not.
Yeah, if you get a chance to look him up,
really interesting.
You'd be surprised how many people go missing in the national forest. And what surprised me the most, I've met David. Forests, yeah. He says that they get all kinds of freedom of information requests from the federal government, and they will delay until the last minute to respond, and then it gets a document that looks like it's been redacted, and he's like, why are we redacting documents on missing children out of a national forest, and why did it take you 14 months? So
it's really odd, and there's no traces of these people.
Yeah. If you get a chance, check that out. It's actually a pretty cool story. And you are out there in Bigfoot country, so. Now, I told you I was going to ask, do you have any experiences out in the woods, stuff like that, or?
Well, first, I'm not really an out in the woods kind of guy, even though I do live out here. I mean, I don't go out in the woods. I go out in the woods, but I'm not like a big camper, so I don't. Maybe I haven't put in the time. And I've only been here in this area for like 15 years, so but I have not seen a Bigfoot.
Okay, well,
Any ghosts?
Ghosts?
Stories?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about when you said that before. I can't say. I mean, I think there's times where I maybe felt a presence of something, but I haven't seen anything specific.
Yeah, I don't see them either.
you know, a lot of the fire stations are haunted too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last one of the last fire stations I worked in was haunted. So, yeah, when I was making my bed, you know, we've been running all day, and here it is 2:00 in the morning. I'm finally getting a chance to make my bed, and door just out of nowhere slams. I mean, it scared me. I even jumped, and of course, everybody comes sticking their head out in the hallway. What's wrong with you? What, me? And go into the kitchen, and everybody was dead asleep because I was the only one up. I was finishing my paperwork for the paramedic report. Every cabinet door was open and every drawer was pulled out. And I was like, okay, somebody's messing with me. And I went and they were all snoring. And it was like, you can tell after you've been around the firehouse for a while, the snoring ones. And so I didn't say anything about it. And a couple shifts later, one of the other guys says, hey, have you had this happen? And it was the exact same thing. And I said, well, unless somebody's messing with us on all 3 shifts. Yeah, it's our little visitor. So yeah, and they say that that they come back with you on the ambulance is what they say, or the fire truck, whatever it is the
I
case
don't
may
think
be.
so. They wouldn't do the same things. It's somebody there at the station.
If you were just wandering around 24/7, I'd go mess with firemen. Why not?
Yeah, but I mean, if it's doing the same repetitive things, it's not going to be a ghost that's coming back with you from somewhere. That's dumb.
I got no ideas. There's a fire station in Chicago that has one of the old filament lights, and there was a firefighter that was up on a ladder putting his hung by a wire, just a wire, and it's the old clear light. And he put his hand on the window, which he just cleaned, left his handprint and screwed the light in. He was killed on that fire. His handprint is still in the glass to this day. And they've tried to be like, okay, we can clean this off or something. No, it's a part of the glass, and the bulb is still burning. So there's weird stories in the fire service. Yeah.
Did not come across any of those, unfortunately,
wild.
And that would have been fun.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we can talk you into doing it.
Sometimes you have to ask, or they won't tell you. It's like, we're not telling that.
Yeah. I'm one of the ones that'll tell the story. Maybe we can talk you into doing a Bigfoot story for us. So, So do you look for writers, or do you have an idea yourself to come up with something and then send it to writers, or how does that part work?
Well, again, what we're doing is really non-scripted work. So it's really not a written, like I said, there's not a written script. So we're kind of more thinking in terms of themes that we're trying to cover, kind of what is the story we're trying to tell. But we also kind of need to be open because, again, we don't know what we're going to get. So you try to kind of plan, like, with people, we knew that the people's personal stories that we were going to be filming. So it was just a question of trying to, get those through interviews and document different parts of their lives. So we knew we were going to be doing those things. But, what happens at the station the days we're there, we don't know. So like I said, we went to a lot of places where a lot of false alarms, a lot of, I'm sure you've been on plenty of those.
Smells and bells.
Yeah. So it's more, it's more kind of conceptual, like a framework, and then you just go out and get what you get.
Did they feed you well? Firemen are known for eating.
We had a couple great meals. I went in California, actually, one of the, in Sonoma County, there was a scene. There was a kind of a lunch scene, and they had one of their good chefs cooking, and it was amazing. We had an amazing meal. We had in Nebraska. They did a big old barbecue for us. Ate some Gefilte fish in
wow,
New York. Did some brisket in Texas. Had a really good barbecue brisket in Texas. There's a scene in the movie where they had that. Trying to think of the other food. Yeah, we did. We always eat well when we travel. We always try to find good local stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But we had some good firehouse meals for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, if you run a firehouse, we eat well. So if you spend some time, I think you said Wheaton, they've got a good history and tradition there. So
They
yeah,
had an amazing cook there. I didn't think I forgot about that meal. Yeah, we had some good meals for sure.
so I know you ran a lot of medical calls with, especially Wheaton, I'm sure. Did you see anything? No, how do I want to word this? Not that it was like graphic or violent or anything like that. But did you see anything that shocked you?
I mean, the last scene in the film is from Wheaton and is a pretty severe, like 5-car crash, you know? So, and for us, I mean, we had, like I said, we've been on so many kind of false alarms and small little things, but this one was real. And there was, you know, I think there were 10 casualties, you know, and people, you know, in different conditions. So I think when we first arrived on that scene, it was like, oh God, this one's real. And again, it was just, but then I think then you see these firefighters kind of just go into action. And, you know, they were just, you know, again, this happened to be one of the stations where there was a really younger group of people, and that were just joking around and hanging out at the fire station just 5 minutes before. And now they're full on just coordinated, you know, watching the teamwork and them just kind of taking this very chaotic situation and, you know, bringing order to it, you know. And so we're just trying to focus on capturing that, you know, and you have to get over the shock of the moment of this accidents going on. We've got a job to do ourselves. And so I think we were just trying to focus on how to capture it in a way that, you know, wasn't gory or weird, but you could still see people doing what they, you know, the firefighters working.
Truly is organized chaos.
Yeah. Did any of them talk about the aftermath of the accidents or any of the stress effects or anything like that?
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about just kind of the mental health issues and you know, kind of the emotional trauma that firefighters face. I think that's another thing. It's almost like a whole nother subject that we've talked about doing, but we don't get too deep into this film. But it's definitely something that was talked about a lot with firefighters, and just, you know, they're seeing really traumatic stuff, you know. And again, some of these, you know, we had one of the women that we featured in the film was 16 when she started. And there's a lot of, you know, 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old kids out there. That's a lot for them to take on. But I think, you know, I think the fire departments themselves are way more conscious of this now and aware of it. Think about it and make sure that they're taking time to after something really kind of horrific has happened or traumatic, that they, you know, they talk it through as a group, and, you know, if someone's struggling, you know, that there's support there for them.
Yeah, they've gotten a lot better in the last recent years. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, used to. Originally, they told you to
suck it up,
you know, walk it off.
Walk it off. Yeah.
Suck it up.
I think people do at a certain point, but then at a certain point, you know, it catches up to you, you know. And
it does. Yeah, it's cumulative. It's just.
Yeah, you may have seen it 10 times before, but it's like on the 11th time or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like it hits you, you know.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Oh, absolutely. I'm medically retired because of an on-duty dog attack, and I mean, I've over my 20-ish years in the service, I've had plenty of bad calls. I won't say none of them bothered me, but it wasn't until I realized that, you know, when the orthopedic surgeon, after all the occupational therapy and physical therapy and torture, comes to you and goes, "You're no longer going to be a paramedic firefighter," it was like a ton of bricks falling on my head at that moment. Mm-hmm. You know, besides for the shock that, because I had made myself up, you know, I was going to go back. And he's like, "Well, I'm not signing off on it because you could sue me." So, yeah, he wasn't going to release me because my left hand doesn't work as well as it used to, and my left hand and arm are weaker. So, you know, his point was, if you fall through a roof or something and you try and catch yourself and that's the only hand you got, well, you're screwed. So, you know, or if your partner falls or something. So, and I saw his point. I never realized that I had PTSD until after that. And it was the weirdest of feeling, because then I started remembering, like, for instance, I was talking to Dina in the chat earlier tonight with the rest of our people. And last night I was dreaming I was back on the fire truck at Station 20, and I was rerunning through calls. This didn't happen when I was on duty. I loved it. So it is weird.
Yeah. Strange.
It sticks with you because you really do see the best and worst of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I got flagged for a psych one time because they asked me to describe my job, and I said, "Well, we intermingle in people's nightmares daily," and they flagged me for a psychiatric.
Why? That's the truth.
It is the truth, and I think that should be on the job description, especially these young people going in.
Yeah.
And now that we're much more aware of the mental health, I think that they need to know when you're going in, you're going to see bad stuff.
Yeah. I think I think the language, we speak a different language than office people do.
Well, I'm sure, Gary, you probably heard lots of war stories.
From firefighters?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody had stories to tell for sure. Yeah.
And how is from, I'm going to say normal people talking to firefighters and EMS too, because we're lumped in there. How are our stories different than other stories you run across? I mean, besides we've got the dark humor, which keeps us sane. So
yeah, no, I just think that the stuff that you guys deal with is so intense that for most people, like, would just be like, again, after this kind of big scene that we shot with this kind of, for us, was kind of a traumatic, car crash type thing. Like we were,
shaken up,
emotionally shooken by it. But we get back to the station and we figure like, oh, everyone's going to be like quiet and talking about it. And they just were, went back to normal. So I just think, as terrible as it sounds, like dealing with all this kind of stuff is just kind of normal for you guys. So
yeah, you just push it down. You just like
push it down, or you have to. I mean, you couldn't do the job if
right.
I mean, I think it just becomes part of what you do. So
yeah,
it's just you guys have just a different level of
nerves,
yeah, being around like crazy stuff and all the time and just dealing with it. Yeah,
I mean, it really is hours of sheer boredom interrupted by moments of terror.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because inside our head, we're thinking, okay, what do we do? Not what do we do, but sometimes we are.
What do I do next?
Yeah, damn it, I forgot to bring it. But in your head, you're thinking a million thoughts a minute, but on the outside, nobody really knows.
Yeah, nobody knows that.
Yeah.
And you have to stay calm. You have to have a calm exterior when your head is going, No, you know your job, but it's like you're going, like Glenn said, you're going a million miles a minute, thinking, what do I do next? What do I do next? What do I do next? It's crazy. It's crazy. It literally is crazy.
Best job you'll ever have.
Yeah, and it's awesome too. It's like an adrenaline.
I always told my rookie, if you see me running, I'm old and I'm fat. You better keep up because something's wrong. One thing. Did you went to the training academy? Did you do any training with them in quarters on things, or
did we do training?
No, not you, but did you film them in quarters, in house, doing training too, aside from just the fire academy part?
Well, yeah, I'm not sure if I understand the difference, but we've trained them through, every step of the training that they went through. So everything from kind of the classroom stuff, the fire kind of knowledge stuff through, I think like ladders and,
Well, I guess what I was trying to get at was a lot of people picture us, and you may have had this before in your head, and it's not unusual. They think that we're either washing the fire truck or we're sitting on the couch watching TV. They don't realize that there's a lot of training. Like I've been out of it for 2 years now. I don't know that I remember all my knots. You have to learn, you have to practice things, you have to do things. and people don't understand that what you got to go through for that.
Oh yeah, well again, the academy was well. So I see what you're saying. You're talking about the different departments, then the training that they went through. Yeah, we did do trainings at the other departments, and yeah, every department had, if not weekly trainings, a couple of trainings a month that were fairly intense. So yeah, we did do that. But guys, I'm gonna have to cut out here. I have another call actually.
Okay.
I knew you had to. I was about to cut out. Before you go, real quick, tell us where everybody can find it, and if you want to give us a sneak of something in the future, that'd be great too.
Yeah.
Well, you can see everything. So it's oddhoursfilm.com has the trailer. It has kind of all the screenings that are happening and any news. Like I say, I think there'll be some news coming up in the not so distant future. So keep checking back there. But it is, again, those local screenings are happening all across the country. So it may be happening in.
Okay. You got anything exciting coming up?
We're kind of, I think, looking at our next feature project, but we've got several things that we're kind of developing right now. And then, I think it's the thing is just finding the right audience for the film and making sure that, that we've got the audience and the funding as well. So that's always another part of it. So, but I think, finding the audience first helps with the funding piece. So, so we got a couple big ideas, but not ready to talk about them quite yet. So.
Okay. Well, if you decide to do a Bigfoot, I know some people that can help you. So,
all right.
But I'm broke. I have no money, so I'm a firefighter.
We'll be looking out for you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and I'm gonna sell this movie because I believe that you should train every day you can for a job that's trying to kill you every day it can. So it helps send home a message to the volunteers across the country and to the community. So now I appreciate it as a firefighter. Thank you.
Well, thanks for your interest very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Gary.
All right, Gary. Bye. Thanks a lot.
Bye,
talk to you soon. Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye. You too.
Bye. All right. Well, that was great. Oh, I'm hiding you.
Hey, I'm gonna back here.
I knew he was going to have to go, and it was difficult because I got like tons of questions. Me being a geek fireman.
No, that's fine. I didn't mind at all. I wish I had watched the movie, but I didn't get a chance to.
I've seen parts of it, so I haven't seen all of it. But what I've talked to some people about it. The National Volunteer Fire Council is way behind this idea. So
yeah, I'm sure. That's awesome.
They are very excited to be pushing that. So, well, thank you, Wendell. I appreciate that. It was my first show back. I was a little nervous getting in the chair here. So,
you did good.
Well, thank you. Maybe he'll look up David Pilates. That'd be really cool. So yes, I know Pilates has done some things. I need to get him on the show. I haven't messaged him in a while. Awesome. I need to do that. Because, like I said, a lot of people don't realize how many people go missing from the park.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to switch gears here. Our second guest, I guess, is tied up. Well, I hope she's not tied up. That could be bad. Yeah. So, Tia, we will reschedule her. Okay. So, we will probably... now you can keep it up. Well, thank you. We will reschedule Tia, try and get her back on the show. Unless she's maybe just running late, but we will try and get her again. In the meantime, I believe we have a special person that was told to be on standby. And remember, you can call us. I've got my boss, Ross. Hey, that was a rhyme. My boss, Ross, on standby in the studio to take your calls. And you can call 1-888-88-YERGS. That's 1-888-88-YERGS, YERGZ. And he'll be looking forward to taking your call. And Dina, what's that in real human numbers?
Because human numbers. It's 888-889-3749. 888-889-3749.
Gosh, you sound like a dispatcher. So, and he'll also take your credit card number too, and give us money. So,
or I'll take it.
No, don't let her take it. She'll take you shopping.
I will take you shopping with me. Yes, I will. For groceries. Because I'm hungry.
It's about the same thing anymore, spending that
Yes,
much money.
it is.
So,
It is actually.
did you happen to hear if Shelton was going to be available tonight?
Shelton is indisposed. He's over sitting in the corner, turning his head away from me.
Well, so I assume so is his handler.
His handler is not in here.
Oh, that's great.
I
All
know.
right.
I'm so sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. That's okay. I didn't know if we'd be able to get him in on short notice or not. So I know that he was working on some other type of duty.
Yes,
So
he's got duties.
I'm gonna be mean here, and I'm gonna bring in our new boss, and I'm gonna let him tell us a little bit about some of the exciting things. It's not like he doesn't get to talk enough on the radio as it is. Yeah, I heard your
still gotta make
long-winded
sure
shows.
things are on and all that stuff. That was interesting.
It was.
I don't know if you saw that I wasn't, around the camera. I put the other screen up from the other night, the Para OR Normal, or the Misfit ones. I've got my phone. I forgot to tell you that. I have the same app on the phone. So I'm listening to the show and I'm monitoring and I tested it and all that happy stuff. So I don't know. Do you guys swear here? Can I say happy horse shit, or is that
No, go ahead.
like get the boss upset?
No. No, me and you're the boss.
I think we can take care of him. We'll just.
So am I figuring something out here? Does Dina and JT kind of have a thing?
No.
No. You're close.
But this, I've heard this before. Shelton has hooked up with Dina.
Yes. Me and Shelton is over here. I've got him.
And she has not showed me the pictures. They're only going to be on OnlyFans. So.
and I just watched you look around for JT.
Yeah. Someone else is here with him.
One of our other members of the Misfits, Sonia. Sonia lives in Knoxville and JT lives in Nashville. So, and
Dina's halfway in between, or
yeah.
Pretty much.
Oh,
she charges them rent by the hour. So,
Madam Dina,
just call me Madam.
I'll let you spank me, Dina.
All part of the Misfits.
All part of it.
That's right. So, Ross, I was listening to your show this afternoon. Great show.
Thank you.
I don't want to say you're converting me, but we still think alike. So,
that's not my. I had this after yesterday's show. One of the guys that I mentioned actually called me.
Yeah, I'm
there he is.
You're not talking about me.
We're talking about both of you.
We heard you. You're a madam.
Yes, I'm a madam now. Here's my lovely children.
There they
They're
are.
not related.
Everybody.
They're not related.
One's got too much hair. You can tell him to get a haircut. So.
Haircut.
That's what my high school buddies are telling me. So yeah, after yesterday's show,
yeah.
And oh wow, it just started pouring here. After yesterday's show, my buddy Randy, who I've known since junior high, called me. We talked for over an hour. But as I said to him, because he's also very conservative, I am not here to tell you who to vote for, one direction or the other. The only two that I will tell you who not to vote for are Trump and DeSantis.
What?
See you, JT.
He was they're leaving on the politics note.
Yeah, I do. I get that a lot.
No, don't like politics.
But as a political scientist by education, I'm not lecturing or anything like that, but that's my degree is political science and history. Our country has never seen literal fascism like Ron DeSantis or I almost said Howard Stern or Donald Trump. And that's just that's it. I've spent my life being impartial. I
Sure,
was
you
a
had to in your
baseball
job.
umpire. I was a baseball umpire since I was 12 and a hockey referee since I was 13.